to speak today. I'm a physician and the former medical director for Multnomah County Health Department and over 2 decades of medical practice. I came into contact with probably, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 homeless persons, and a lot of those people were my patients over a period of years. My problem with this ESD is the way the problem is framed, which is that the houseless are a problem because they are unsightly, they create waste, and they make the rest of us feel unsafe. I think as long as we frame the problem this way, we are not going to address the underlying problems of the houseless. The ESD is a step in the right direction. I don't think it goes far enough, and it needs some more improvements. I also agree with the previous speaker who pointed out that the ESD is one more example of a cash-strapped public agency having to rely on private entities to solve social problems, which are not theirs to solve. That is our community's problem to solve. 2 things I want to point to specifically. The CCC offered up evidence-based, peer-run hygiene and security solutions, which would have cost annually about $500,000. Somehow, the entity ESD, which is going to spend $800,000 on parking, found that to be too expensive and out of their scope. So I didn't understand that. The second is the problem with the board composition, and I just want to point out that the CEIC was unable to recruit a single houseless person to serve on their advisory committee, so I don't have a lot of confidence that they'll be able to recruit and retain 3 houseless persons. So those are my concerns. I think we can do better. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
My name is Elizabeth Kinman. I'm here because Sarah Rudolph, working people have to work. We both organize with Portland Assembly, the East Central NAC, and we are here to make a statement that we will not endorse the formation of a business improvement district or enhanced services district in the Central East Side until carceral concepts included in this contract are removed and not just rebranded. We recognize this proposal for what it is, an attempt to capitalize on opportunity zones and prepare the Central East Side for the next boom-bust land grab. We will not endorse the contracting of Northwest Enforcement with public money as a way to police the poor and unhoused, even under the guise of a low barrier uniform, whatever that is. We believe that the city knows statistically that sweeps do not work and are a destabilizing and pernicious policy that you yourself said you want to remove, and yet you don't. So, how can we assume that you are not just appropriating language from the eminently preferable counterproposal by the Compassionate Change District in order to make this CEIC proposal more palatable to people who want to pretend like they care? We instead endorse the CCD proposal as it is eminently more ethical. It is providing more agency and support to the communities who are the most vulnerable, who you want to help, or so you say. Your development is trash if it's built on the bodies of your most vulnerable neighbors.
Next 3, please.
Next 3 are Eric Myers, Peter Finley Fry, and Jenka Soderberg, and they'll be followed by Robert West, Eric Kress, and John Mayer.
Good afternoon.
Hi, my name is Jenka Soderberg. I'm an employee of KBOO Community Radio, and I come presenting a statement on behalf of KBOO that was unanimously approved by the Board of Directors at KBOO. KBOO Community Radio supports the Compassionate Change District proposal and opposes the amended Central East Side Industrial Council's proposed Enhanced Services District. KBOO Radio has owned its headquarters at 20 Southeast 8th Avenue since 1983. That's within this district. We have been a mainstay in this neighborhood and community as the nation's oldest fully independent community radio station, founded in 1968. For 50 years, KBOO Community Radio has embraced values of peace, justice, sustainability, and democracy in pursuit of a mission dedicated to equitable social change. We also have Right to Survive Radio, the only radio program by and about houses people. We support a vision of the city that expands the commons and reduces the use of punitive policies and measures. Any program that uses public funds, which affects the lives and well-being of Portland residents, must be democratically governed and designed foremost to address the needs of the community, particularly the most vulnerable. We support the CCD coalition members, including Right to Survive, FOES, Sisters of the Road, the Western Regional Advocacy Project, Portland Metro People's Coalition, the ACLU. These are organizations that should be leading, defining, implementing, and overseeing the program. Portland has been experiencing a structural housing crisis that is expected to get even worse. Real estate developers have identified the Central East Side as the next hot site for gentrification and are branding it as an area for creatives that could outdo the Pearl District. We're grateful to Commissioners Hardesty, Udaley, and Fritz for their support of the CCD proposal and for their leadership in facilitating the negotiation process with the CEIC despite recent changes to the proposal. However, the plan remains fundamentally at odds with the core values, mission, and vision of KBOO. We do not want to repeat the failed practices of other enhanced service districts, which rely on private security and policing for gentrification and profiting from resulting rising property values. We oppose the use of private security patrols to target unhoused neighbors, exclude them from public space, and push them from one block to the next. We urge the City Council to fully adopt the counter proposal for the Compassionate Change District.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good morning, Mayor Wheeler and Commissioners. My name is Eric Myers of Summit Development Group. We are a development company and property owner in the Central East Side with a long-term commitment to being there. Our properties are located at 8th and Older and at 9th and Stark. I myself have kept an office in the Central East Side since 2012, and I've seen the rapid change and deterioration of the streetscape in the Central East Side in that time. In the redevelopment of these two sites, which will be redeveloped into research laboratories, in doing so, we're bringing more than $120 million of investment to the CEIC that was intended to come there far before the Opportunity Zone was enacted. These buildings, when complete, will house as many as 1,200 researchers working in over 390 square feet of life science laboratory, offices, and retail space. We know that working with our tenants that better than half of these professionals will either bike or walk or ride mass transit, and all will become active participants of the streetscape in the Central East Side. As such, the owners of the local businesses looking to relocate to the Central East Side and grow in the Central East Side need to know that their employees will be safe as they come and go from our properties. The current state of the Central East Side streetscape is both unclean and unsafe for all participants. The problem has grown larger than individual property owners can handle on their own. I know this firsthand as I've spent countless hours trying to help our site keep our sites clean and our workers safe. We are in support of acting quickly on this and moving forward with the ESD, as the ESD will allow the district the ability to employ proactive resources to keep our district clean, provide inclusive, safe, professional streetscape. The ESD will encourage property owners and tenants to work together as a district for meaningful improvement to the CEIC streetscape rather than continue to take matters into their own hands without results and with rapidly growing frustration. In closing, thank you.
Perfect time. Thank you.
Next three are Robert West, Eric Kress, and John Mayer. And they'll be followed by Neil Goodman, Julie Bennett, and Charles Bridgway Johnson.
Yes, my name is Robert West, and I wanted to bring up the homeless aren't just the drug addicts and the people making messes. You also got people that, through economic reasons and stuff like that, wind up being homeless. Not all the homeless make big messes, though the city and city council likes to bring that up about the big messes and stuff like that. There's a few homeless camps that I've actually went through that has actually made sure that they kept themselves clean, and then shortly afterward they got swept. I'm totally against this East Side proposal, because it just doesn't make any sense to me why you're going to hire more goons to walk the streets and chase homeless people around, put homeless people at risk of injury and death. They're not going to see these ambassadors as ambassadors. They're going to see these people like safe and clean, and like the police, and like the nurse testified to. They're going to swallow their drugs. They're going to swallow their drug stuff, and they're going to wind up in the emergency rooms. They're going to be jumping off bridges to try to get away, just like they do with safe and clean in the police. I've seen it. Other people have seen it. It's ridiculous that you guys did the same thing with the Lloyd District. It's like you're trying to break the city up into these districts and stuff like that so you can get more money. What we need to do is concentrate on parking and concentrate on services for people and stuff like that.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Wheeler and Commissioners. My name is Eric Kress. I'm a principal with Urban Development Partners. Our office is located at Northeast 6th and Cooch in the Central East Side, and we own property in the Central East Side Industrial District. I also serve on the board of the Central East Side Industrial Council. We started our company out of our garage just over 10 years ago in Southeast Portland, and eventually got through it and moved our office of 22 employees to Northeast 6th and Cooch. That was in 2012. We have approximately 500,000 square feet of adaptive reuse and office and new construction projects in the district, so we are a property owner. Within our buildings, we house a number of businesses in multiple industries, including technology, healthcare, retail, design, and manufacturing, so we represent a number of interests. During our time in the district, our employees and me have donated winter shelter space, prepared and delivered hundreds of meals to the houseless, participated in numerous district cleanups, and donated tens of thousands of dollars to nonprofits for housing and for education. I can say that other business owners in the district have done all of this as well and much more. I think it's unfortunate that some of the monies that are dedicated to peer-based programs are being mischaracterized as security. Maybe that's a communications problem, but you guys have a copy of the proposal and I would understand that. I'll also say that the same love, caring, and intention that has driven so many of us to participate and give through our time and money has inspired the ESD proposal in its current form today. And this new model, I feel, will be an inspiration for other ESDs because it is a new model and is different from what has come before. After several years of grassroots work among a very diverse group of participants, I think we have resolved on a unique opportunity, $4 million over 3 years put towards transformative change that will benefit all of our occupants, and it's a unique opportunity that we don't want to slip through our fingertips. Therefore, I urge you to approve the ESD. Martin Luther King said we all came on different ships, but we are in the same boat now. Let's please take this opportunity to work together for a better future for the CID and for Florida.
Thank you. Next group, please.
Ardeel Goodman, Julie Bennett, and Charles Bridger and Johnson. And the last three will be Sarah Davita McBride, Elizabeth Kinner Bennett, and Patrick Coleman O'Hara.
Good afternoon.
Hi, my name is Julie Bennett. I'm a property owner in the district for the last 10 years. And I'm prepared today. My partner is supposed to come and speak, but we have experienced increased incidents of violence in our building and toward our tenants. Without going into detail, the last one involved a blowtorch in one of our restrooms. And so we are 4 tenants in our building. They're small businesses. And these people, these employees are not equipped for these face-to-face confrontations. They are compassionate people. They don't want to resort to having to call the police when these things happen. And so we view the ESD as a way to more compassionately handle interactions with whomever these people are, not necessarily houseless people. So there's
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm going to
start as commissioners, even though we haven't had lunch yet. Sometimes, in the situation where we're dealing with the CSD, we do need and use a microscope, but do not lose sight of the fact that we also need a telescope or binoculars, and those are currently not being used or provided by the city. We're having to rely on great women journalists. Since June, when Rebecca Willington and Melissa Lewis did what the city is supposed to do and told us that houselessness account for over half the people booked into the jail, we have not formulated a comprehensive response to that problem, and this may or may not be a small piece of such a puzzle. To make things worse, as far as the city using data properly and getting it into the minds and hands of the voters and decision makers, now Katie Shepard and the Willamette Week have analyzed for us the BOET calls. It is relevant.